So, here's the real question. How do dentists like you, who aren't willing to let insurance dictate how you will run your practice, who want to create incredibly profitable practices without sacrificing your time or sanity, how do you create the strategies to ensure your practice not only survives, but thrives in the 21st century? That's the blaring question, and Dr. Steve Schlentz is here to provide the answers. Welcome to Dental Practice Freedom Radio.
What is up, everybody? This is Dr. Steve Schlentz, and I want to welcome you back to Dental Practice Freedom Radio. Today, what we're going to talk about is deep work. Now, there was a book that I've been reading. It's called Deep Work by Newport. And so some of you may have read this book. Some of you may have known about this book, but it is phenomenal. So one of the things that's always fascinated me as I started practicing dentistry, especially the way that I do, which is relationship-based, is this idea of falling in love with mastery and dedicating your life to something. And I always think of, like craftsmen and woodworkers, and they're always spending years and years and years learning and perfecting a craft. And I think that's lost in our society today, right? And so books like Mastery by George Leonard or Mastery by, Robert Greene, those two have touched on this idea of pursuing something beyond yourself. And whether it's dentistry for you or another passion, completely falling in love with the process of developing and growing and getting better, it's always appealed to me, and I don't know why. So you can understand my frustration when we live now in a world of hyper-connectedness, but very shallowness. And it's not that Twitter or Facebook or any social media platform is inherently shallow. It just is. You can find yourself wasting a tremendous amount of time. And what's interesting was if I work with coaching clients, one of the first things to say is what's the time wasting activity? And they always say the same thing. It's like Facebook, but yet they do it all the time. And so I started to look deeper into this, and that led me to this book by Newport called Deep Work. And I highly recommend you buy the book or listen to it on audio. And it was funny. I was writing a Facebook post about it the other day, and I said, I know this is ironic that I'm on Facebook talking about this book. And, Cal is not saying that you should or shouldn't use Facebook. The whole premise of the book is how to get yourself into a state to be able to be maximally productive and think deeply about problems and come up with solutions and come up with, content. And let's say in your dental practice, think deeply about vision of your practice and what are you trying to accomplish, and go to work on those things. And he talks about all of these different things in relation to how we can compartmentalize deep work. And I think for dentists, there was a couple of strategies that would work. One would be what he calls rhythmic deep work, which is you set a schedule where you do your deepest work and you block off all distractions. Now, there's an app that's out there. It's called Freedom, where you actually pay $1 a month. And what it does is it blocks you off of all social media. You can block yourself off of basically any website or any social platform for designated hour blocks. And I've used it before, and it's really, really effective. And I've used it to just see how much I actually have this inclination to go check on what would be considered superficial things or shallow things. And you'd be surprised at how many times I've checked my email or checked Facebook or whatever as a way to escape boredom or out of habitual patterns. And I was shocked. And I still go back and forth with this. And after reading Deep Work, I've really made a commitment to myself that my highest point of contribution, whether it's on this podcast or whether it's with my program Dental Sales Secrets or whether it's working individually with dental clients or whether it's something completely outside of dentistry, the only way I'm going to be able to find that and make my highest point of contribution is to start to go deeper into what it is I do. And I encourage you to do the same thing, is really start going deep with what it is you're passionate about. Really go after it. And don't get distracted by all the superficial things and all the shallow things that really don't add fulfillment, right? The sad part is I think people now are more unfulfilled than ever before, but yet we're hyper connected. Like we're always going, we're always busy, we're always doing things. I've never met one person that I've talked to, dentist or non-dentist, where I say, hey, how are you feeling? Are you feeling like not busy enough or too busy? Like everybody's like, I don't have enough time, I'm too busy. But if you look at what actually is being produced in our marketplace, there's not a lot, right? I think we're losing that in a lot of capacities. And so that's one of the arguments that Calvin Newport makes, is that because it's so connected, because there's so many distractions, the ability to focus and get into what he calls deep work is actually going to be incredibly valuable in our marketplace. It is simple supply and demand economics. Because so few people are doing truly deep work on a daily basis, that skill and that ability is going to increase value in the marketplace. And so what I encourage you to do, and I talked a little bit about this before, let's directly apply this to a dental practice. There is a tendency that I've seen. I was talking about putting blinds on a house without putting a foundation down. There is a tendency for dentists to get involved with quote unquote shallow work or superficial work in the practice, whether it's helping with Instagram or helping with Facebook or helping this, or maybe help even, writing the books, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to help my office manager do this. That is all good, but that might still be pretty shallow actually. And it's not truly driving the office forward. What I would encourage, dentists that are listening to this, go deep. Figure out what your true passion is in dentistry, figure out what your true purpose is in dentistry, and really start to dig into that. And then get a team around you that can take care of all the other things so you can focus with uninterrupted focus for hours on a day about how you want to grow a practice that's truly freedom for you, whether it's financially or on a spiritual level or fulfillment level. Think about how you can do that in your practice, touching on your highest point of contribution. So think about that as you're in your practice and you say, is this deep or shallow? And then you're going to say, well, it's shallow, but it's necessary. I ask the second question, is it really necessary? And if you get something out of deep work, the second book that I would recommend you end up looking into then after that, and he actually talks about this book in his book. So Cal Newport in Deep Work talks about the second book that I read before I read Deep Work, and that was 4 Disciplines of Execution. And once you start to go deep, you will find that a lot of this other stuff is quote unquote the whirlwind, which is what they talk about in 4 Disciplines of Execution. And then you can start to navigate around it. So I'm not saying you can completely eliminate shallow work from your life, but you can find ways to minimize it. And the deeper you go and the more intense you can focus and concentrate on some of the essential questions in your dental practice, the faster you will move towards creating a practice of freedom, a practice that you want. So hopefully you got some value out of this. As always, if you do, please leave a review or a rating on wherever you watch this podcast. It'd be greatly appreciated. You can go to dentalpracticefreedomradio.com and get your free case acceptance master pack, which is my thank you for just checking out my podcast. It's 5 videos on case acceptance, very short, very easy to digest, and it gives you the 5 pillars or secrets that I have used in my practice to increase my case acceptance when I'm doing my high-end cases. So hopefully you get some value out of that. And last plug is if you get value out of that or you really love the podcast, I do have a webinar. You can go to dentalsalessecrets.com and it'll talk about the 3 secrets that I use to basically grow an expert business and an expert practice, and how you can put those same things into your own practice. This is great for people that have highly developed skills, but they're trying to figure out how to get it into the actual hands of their patients. So that's it. That's all I got. Recorded this on a Sunday, so happy Sunday. It's Earth Day when I'm recording this, so hopefully you enjoy Earth Day. Get out there, get some nature, enjoy yourself, take it easy, but then do some deep work. So take care. Have a great one.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode on Dental Practice Freedom Radio with Dr. Steve Schultz. We'll see you on the next episode.